Alrighty, so after about 9.5 years of Dokkan Battle, it's safe to say that there are some pretty broken abilities in this game, but you might not know which one is the most broken. Now, this video, it's going to be tough to give a definitive answer, but I'm going to lay out all of the crazy broken abilities that some of these characters have now, and at the end we'll kind of discuss which one we think is the best and stuff like that. So let me know down below what mechanic you guys think is the most broken within the game. Leave a like if you do enjoy, subscribe if you are new, and let's go ahead and get into this. So what I'm going to be doing is showing you guys specific gameplay of each mechanic, and I think the first one we'll do is go ahead and start with the dodging mechanic. Now, the dodge mechanic defensively is quite literally the best one, right? Obviously, that one is pretty easy because, you know, what's better than taking little damage? Taking no damage. But the kind of counter attack to that is that, you know, you have what is known as you know, enemy or stages that could potentially disable dodge and stuff like that. So it could potentially be a little bit of an issue, but you guys will see in this video. I'm trying to pull this up as we go. I got to get into a fight here, and then we'll go ahead and show the dodge in action. And where are the beasts go? There we go. Goodness. All right, let's get UI on rotation, and then we'll be right back. Oh, we're good. Okay. So just showing you guys gameplay really quickly. This is going to be what is known as the dodge mechanic. I'm sure you guys know this just means that you're going to be evading enemy attacks and taking 0 damage. So quickly, we'll grab these right here to make sure we get the 24 key. We'll grab the rainbow orbs with you, and then we will grab these ones right here. So it's going to be what the dodge mechanic is. It's quite literally just evading the enemy attack right there. No damage taken. All fun and games. So that is the first one. I think defensively, this is probably the best mechanic, but again, it's not the most consistent because there are stages out there that do disable dodges from specific, not even specific characters, from all characters. So what makes this one, you know, not just straight up the best ability in the game is the fact that it can be taken away. So keep that in mind for future reference in the video. Let's go ahead and move on to the next mechanic, which is guard. Now, I'm gonna pull this up and take some time to explain guard so it makes more sense. So just give me one moment while this turn goes, and we will explain it fully as we go. Okay, so obviously I understand personally how guard works, but I wanted to try and give you a bit of a better understanding of the technicalities or the terms for it so I could put it into simpler words, right? Essentially what guard is you are able to receive attacks from any enemy as if you had type advantage, right? So if you guys don't know, when you have type advantage, that means the damage that you are going to be receiving is essentially cut in half, right? That's what's going to be happening, but it's also just a multiplier, right? So when we look at this type of stuff, I had a whole thing pulled up about this, right? So the guard multiplier, right? This is coming from a Reddit post. The guard multiplier is a multiplier of 0.5, which is activated when a unit has type advantage or guard in the passive. When a unit doesn't have type advantage or guard, the modifier is 1. So if the modifier is going down to 0.5 because you have type advantage, that is what guard is doing, right? Now, guard on top of type advantage is also going to be giving an additional multiplier, so it's going to be more than 0.5. So I hope that makes sense. This is something that is going to be a pretty big deal in difficult fights, and this is something that, like, when a character has it, like, no matter what, it is going to be extremely, extremely helpful, right? So I know that sounds like a lot, and it is a bit confusing at times, but that is going to be essentially how it works, right? Now, something else that we have to talk about in terms of guard, with the multiplier being lowered, we also need to talk about damage reduction. So let me try and simplify that for you too before we go into this next turn. So damage reduction is going to be a little bit more simple to explain, right? It is going to go from a character to character basis on the certain like baseline of what the damage reduction will be. So right now you see we have a character that actually has a combination of both, right? And this is going to be LR Beast Gohan. Now I know I haven't played here in a minute, but there's a lot of talking that we have to do in order to explain this one, right? And why it is so good. Damage reduction, when you get into a crazy high number, like some of the golden Friezas in the game have a damage reduction of 90%. That is crazy. So think about it, right? If an attack is doing 1 million damage, it is going to be reduced by 9. So if Golden Frieza therefore had like 0 defense, it would only do 100,000 because of the damage reduction alone, right? But Beast Gohan on this first turn, I just want to make sure we pull this up so we're all on the same page. He is going to have a baseline damage reduction of 40%, and then we have another one of 20 more percent when he is receiving an attack, and key is 24, right? So our key is at 24, so we're going to have 60% damage reduction right here, and we have to do a couple things more to get like even more, but like right now we're going to have guard, which is going to make it like, so we're fighting against the physical enemy, and then we are also going to have the damage reduction, which is going to cut the damage by 60% with that after he takes the hit. So keep that in mind. I know that's a lot and it's a mouthful, but we have to get through this so you guys can understand. Now you're going to see this in action with Beast Gohan taking little to no damage right here, and that is going to be very, very helpful for us. So you can see right there, a 13 million attack stat and not taking any damage. So guard, is a multiplier as if you're fighting against a unit with type advantage, and then damage reduction is just a percentage of that damage that obviously is not going to count. So whatever the inverse of the damage reduction number is going to be the amount of damage that you would be taking, right? So if in this case we have 60% damage, so whatever damage Kid Buu does to us is only going to be 40% of what it would actually do on top of the guard multiplier, right? So it's going to be even less. So guard and damage reduction when combined is one of the most broken combinations in the game defensively, only topped by dodge when you are guaranteed to have it. So there we go for like mainly the defensive abilities that you have with guard and damage reduction. Let's go ahead and move on to some more offensive stuff before we actually... I'll let this turn go, and we'll cut here in a second, and then we'll actually move into some offensive abilities. Okay, so moving on to the offensive side of things, here's going to be a decent example for you of what is known as a critical hit. A lot of characters on this team are going to be performing those, so we'll at least be able to show it in action. So, what is a critical hit, right? A critical hit essentially is going to, it's a hit that bypasses defense and typing and stuff like that, right? So you know how we talked about how a guard is something like, defensively, how it feels like you have type advantage? Well, crits are essentially going to be the same thing on the offensive end, right? So that essentially made us like a physical unit against this AGL character, right? I know that kind of sounds a little bit confusing, right? But just an example, right? If an AGL character is hitting a physical, AGL, or int character, so type neutral, the multiplier is 1.0. And then if an AGL character is going to be hitting an STR character with type advantage, that is going to mean it's at 1.5. And if we hit if it's a crit, the typing doesn't matter, right? It's like being effective against all types, and the multiplier is going to be a 1.9. So you do have to keep that in mind, that this is going to be like a separate version of effective against all types that doesn't come from the passive system, right? And effective against all types is very similar to that, where it's like the multiplier that you're going to be doing in terms of damage is going to be the same across the board on any type of character that you're fighting, right? So if you're type disadvantage, the damage multiplier is going to be the same. If you're going type neutral, it'll be the same. And then type advantage, effective against all types. I mean, type advantage, you would still have more, but you will be effective against all types, right? So that is another one of the more crazy, what's the word? English is hard, right? This is more of one of the really good offensive abilities, right? So crit is going to be one of those, and then we'll talk about the next one, which is going to be an additional super. For stacking characters, this is going to be a very good mechanic. Obviously, you guys know what additional supers are. You're watching them right now, especially when there's like stacking defense and stuff like that. You're going to be able to do all types of different things, right? Now, the next ability that we want to be talking about, this one is going to be the giant form. Now, the giant form, in terms of protection of a rotation, this is going to be one of the best abilities that you can do. We're going to swipe up right here, and we're going to go into the giant form. Now, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch through 3 turns of this, but maybe I will, because I'm going to keep yapping. So we'll see. But essentially, what we're doing with this orange form is taking away the enemy's ability to do a super and an AoE. Now, unfortunately, this Kid Buu is probably a bad choice of a boss, because we're going to be buffing Kid Buu with strike supers, if I'm not mistaken. So that is not good. But what we are doing is ensuring the fact that he is not going to be able to hit us with a super like this, because he's hitting us in the giant form, and if you guys don't know, you don't actually receive damage in the giant form. That is going to be a big deal. So right there, that was a 3 million super attack, but it didn't even affect us, right? It was like it wasn't even there. And if this Kid Buu had AoE attacks, we would also be getting rid of those on this specific turn as well. So this is going to serve as a very good protection type of mechanic, right? Now, this is a good example of things that we can do, like especially when you guys, this is not just exclusive to Orange Piccolo, right? Any character that has this giant mechanic will do the same effect, where we're taking away supers, we're taking away AoEs, we're going to be doing all of that fun stuff. So keep that in mind when you are using these, that this is a very broken ability that kept this Piccolo on top of the game for a very, very, very long time, right? It took all the way until about January of 2024 for this guy to be replaced as the best unit in the game, and he came out in December of 2022. So that is just a testament to how good this mechanic is and how much it can save you in events, right? It's a shame that this Piccolo has started to taper off a little bit, but it's all good. Still a very good unit, because he has this right here. So I'm going to let this finish up, and when we get back, we'll be in the same turn, and I'm going to show you, in my opinion, what is the most broken ability in the game. Alrighty, so I'm going to be showing you 2 more mechanics before I hand the discussion over to you guys in the comment section below. And this is going to be the first mechanic. I will actually turn on game audio for this one, because I want you guys to see this active skill, just because it's Beast Gohan, right? So we'll quickly show this one. There we go. Make sure everything's off. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. All right, here we go.
程度か。
All right, so this mechanic is what is known as the taunt mechanic, right? This is what we're going to be calling it. What this is going to do is redirect all enemy attacks to Beast Gohan. So Beast Gohan obviously is the best defensive unit in the game, so this is going to help us stay safe from any type of attacks that could potentially hurt Piccolo, could potentially hurt Evolution Blue Vegeta. So that is what we're going to do. So what I think I want to do is get the most damage possible out of this version of Gohan. Of course, he's not link leveled because why would he be? And then what we're going to do is grab these orbs right here. And you guys are going to see on this specific turn that all of these attacks are going to go towards Gohan, and we're not going to have to worry about anything else. And that is what, in my opinion, the most broken ability in the game, because it's going to protect you from everything, right? The only thing that this ability does not beat is AoEs. And then the beauty of running the team with Orange Piccolo is we have the giant form to do that. So keep that in mind. So the last mechanic I want to talk about in this video is the action break. You saw it right there with that little dodge with like the X next to it. What that is doing is getting rid of the next enemy's action. So it could be an AoE, it could be a heal, it could be a super attack, it could be a normal attack. Anything that a boss does, whatever that action is going to be disabled but from that icon. There are a lot of characters in the game that have that now. I can't list all of them off the top of my head, but just know that they are in the game. There's a bunch, and that is going to be a very important mechanic. So there you have it. All of the really broken abilities in the game. Feeling is kind of one of those things where just you can't do it enough to the enemy for me to really like consider it. And it's the same thing with like stunning, right? Like obviously that mechanic is crazy, but you're not really going to be able to do it as often as you probably want to. And that is why I'm going to be kind of cutting that one down and saying it's not that important, because you can't really do it that often, right? So there you have it, all of the broken abilities in the game. Let me know down below if I missed any, and if there are any on the list that you thought were more broken than the taunt mechanic. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to leave a like if you did enjoy, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you all in the next one.